Hey, this is Dave with AllProWebTools. I'd like to show you how the same web page can look different on a small mobile device and on a full-size computer screen. So here we have a simple web page with 4 squares on it, red, yellow, green, and blue. And you'll notice that they're all in a row. Now, a neat little trick, if you want to know what your website looks like in mobile and you're on a regular computer, you can right-click and go to Inspect. When you do that, you'll see a little box up here which says Toggle Device Toolbar. When you click on that, it's going to show you what your website will look like on a mobile phone. And up here it says iPhone X. So this is what it would look like on an iPhone X. But we can also pull this down and see what it looked like on a Galaxy S5. And we can even see what it would look like on an iPad. So we'll go ahead and go back to look at it on an iPhone X. So you notice that the boxes are stacked in a single column. But wait a minute, when we go back to regular web page view, they're all in a row. How does that happen? And how does it know what order to put them in? Well, let me show you. So we start with a blank page when we're creating a new web page for our website. And the first thing we do is we go to this grid view at the top. And then we have this plus button, so we'll click on that. And then we'll go to structure. Now these are the different ways that you can have box areas on your website. So we're going to go to this 4-box scenario just for example. So you can see there's 4 boxes here. Now these are invisible boxes on your website, but they dictate how things move around on your website depending on whether you're using a small screen or a larger screen. So to get started, we're going to go to Content View and we're going to load up some images here. And the blue box. So now we have our 4 boxes and we can go ahead and take out these numbers now that we have some information loaded into the box. All right, so there are our 4 boxes. Now, if we wanted to center those boxes inside of the container, we can do that by easily just clicking there and clicking the center button. So I'm just going to center the top 2. So now the question is, how do we get it to go into a column when it's on a smaller screen? So to do that, we'll go to Grid, and now we can see those invisible containers again. So in the editor, we are currently looking at this in the largest view. We can see that by the XL up here, and we can see how wide this white area of the screen is. Now, if we want to see what this will look like on a smaller screen, we can click on XS. Now you see it looks the same. It's on a smaller screen, but it's moved all the boxes closer together and they're still in a row. But if you want to get them to be in a column, what you do is you click on the first box, and you see over here, we go all the way to 12. 12 means full width, all the way across. So now the red box is full width, but the other 3 are still their same small size. So we can click on each one at a time and set the XS to 12. And that will put it all the way across. Now for the blue and green, I'm going to set these to a 6. 6 means half. So if I click on both of those and set them to 6, I now have 2 full width at the top and 2 smaller ones that are taking up half the space on the bottom. And those are the 2 that I did not center. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save on that. And we'll take a look at what it looks like on a web page. So here's the web page, and you can see they're all in a row. But now if I use that trick and I do right click and inspect, and then I click on the device toolbar, it's now going to show me what it looks like on an iPhone. And so we've got the 2 that are now stacked, and we've got the other 2 side by side at the bottom. So what if I wanted to make them all in a single column? I would just go back to the editor and go back to grid view. And I want to set this to XS so I can see how I'm building this. And now instead of having this set to 6, I'm going to set it to 12 so it goes full width. And it's always best practice to set all of them up and not leave one behind. So now that I've set that up, I'm going to go ahead and save it. And then I'm going to reload the page here. And you can see I have them stacked. Now remember, I had the top 2 centered and the other ones left justified, and that's why you're seeing that effect there. But now if we were to widen this out to an iPad, we see that they're still all in a row, just like they would be if I turn off the device toolbar and I look at it as a web page. So let's turn that back on. And what I want to do if it's an iPad view is I want to have the red and yellow on top, and then I want to have the green and blue on the bottom. So I'll go back to the editor, and now I'm going to set it to MD, which is that middle size. So now that I'm in MD view, I'm going to go to the small setting and set that to a 6. And I'm going to set the yellow one to a 6. I'm going to set the green one to a 6. And I'm going to set the blue one to a 6. So now in this preview mode here, I can go to XL, which is a full web page. They're all in a row. I can go to MD, which is like an iPad, and I can see them 2 stacked on top of 2. Or I can go all the way to XS, which is like an iPhone, where I can see all 4 of them stacked together. And I'm sure this looks off to you, so we'll go ahead and fix this. Let's center all of them. And we're going to go ahead and save it. So now we have 3 different modes for our web page. One web page with 3 different modes. So the first mode, let's go ahead and reload this first. So the first mode is full page, and that is a single row. And then if I turn on my device toolbar, I now am looking at the iPad view, which has 2 on top of 2. And then if I go to iPhone X, I now have a single column. So I thought that would be interesting to see how web pages are actually laid out. Now let's put a little bit of text in there and see how that gets affected. So we'll go back to our editor, and we're going to replace the green box with some text. All right, now we will look at this in small view, medium view, and extra large view. So you can see that the text is actually being contained inside of an invisible container. And that's what's happening on web pages, is there's an invisible container that's always a square that is controlling how things are laid out on the page. And if you want to see what that invisible grid looks like, you can click this button here, and it's a faint gray line, but that's showing you how the web page is being structured. So I'm going to go ahead and put this to the iPad view, and you can see how the invisible boxes are now structured. And then in XS, you can see how the invisible boxes are being structured to hold all that information. Now it is possible to put words alongside an image, so we can paste those in like that, and we can see what that looks like in medium view and in extra large view. So I thought that would be interesting just to understand a little bit more about how a single web page can be reformatted to work on different size screens.